Okay, let's unpack this. You know that feeling, right?
Which one?
The one where your hands start shaking, your heart's racing,
Oh, yeah.
and you feel like your mind just goes blank, even when you know exactly what you want to say.
Definitely. When you have to speak English in front of people.
Exactly. A presentation, maybe a meeting, could even be just a small group. It's like the fear just takes over.
It's so common.
Yeah.
And that physical reaction, well, that's your body telling you something's up,
Yeah.
feeling kind of threatened.
Right. You've got the knowledge in there, but getting it out under pressure feels impossible sometimes.
Totally.
And tackling that whole feeling, well, that's what this deep dive is all about today.
Mm-hmm.
We're digging into some source material. It's a transcript, actually, from an English learning resource.
And it zeroes right in on this exact fear, doesn't it?
It does. So our mission here is to look at why this happens, according to the source.
Yeah, the root causes.
And more importantly, pull out the practical stuff, the actual strategies it suggests to help you, calm down and speak more confidently.
Actionable steps. Let's do it.
So let's jump right in. The first big question the source tackles is, well, why? Why do we get this specific fear with English?
Okay. It boils it down to three main things hiding beneath the surface.
Right.
First one, and probably the biggest for a lot of people, fear of judgment.
Yes.
Just worrying constantly about what other people are thinking. Will they notice my accent? Will they, laugh?
Oh, that judgment thing is powerful. It's like we invent this whole critical audience in our heads.
We do. And that connects straight to the second reason the source brings up. The fear of making mistakes.
The grammar anxiety. Using the wrong word.
Exactly. Feeling like any little slip up means you failed somehow.
Which is tough.
But here's where the source makes a really, really crucial point, and it's worth repeating.
Okay.
Mistakes aren't failure, not in language learning. They're totally natural. They're actually necessary. It's how you learn.
That's such a good reminder.
Think about it. Even native English speakers. How often do you hear them say, or kind of correct themselves mid-sentence?
All the time.
Yeah. So this idea of perfect English, it's just not realistic. It's not how people actually talk.
That really does take some pressure off, doesn't it? Knowing perfection isn't the goal.
It should. And then the third reason mentioned is, just a general lack of confidence.
That feeling of, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, doubting your own ability to actually get your thoughts across effectively in English.
Okay, so you've got fear of judgment, fear of mistakes, lack of confidence.
And you put those together, and it creates this, spiral of overthinking that just freezes you up.
Right. You're so worried about messing up that you just don't speak.
Exactly. Which then just makes you feel less capable. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay, so understanding the why is step one. Makes sense. But the real gold is in the what can you actually do about it?
Right. Let's get practical.
So let's move into those strategies the source offers, the ones for actually building that speaking confidence.
Okay, it lays out 6 pretty concrete techniques. The first one, prepare like a pro.
Prepare like a pro. I like that.
Yeah, but the advice isn't, write out a full script word for word and memorize it.
Oh, right, because if you lose your place...
You're totally lost and probably more anxious.
So what do they suggest?
Bullet points. Just jot down your key ideas, the main structure you want to follow. Simple points.
Okay.
And this is the important part. Practice speaking through those points out loud, maybe 2 or 3 times.
So you're practicing the talking part, not just the memorizing.
Exactly. The logic is, it's pretty simple but effective. By saying the key points out loud repeatedly.
You get used to it.
Yeah, you build familiarity, not just with the ideas, but with the actual English you need to express them, sort of spontaneously. Your brain gets better at finding the words and phrases.
Preparation really is key for confidence, isn't it?
Absolutely. Builds a foundation. Now, the second tip builds on that. Start small.
Start small.
Okay.
It acknowledges that, look, if you're really nervous, maybe jumping into a huge presentation first thing isn't the best idea.
Right. That might be overwhelming.
So you build up. Step by step, maybe start just talking to yourself in the mirror. Sounds silly, but it helps. Then maybe record yourself. Then practice with a friend you trust or a tutor.
And then maybe a small group.
Exactly. Then a small group. The source says confidence grows in, like layers, manageable steps.
That phased approach feels much less intimidating.
Yeah.
Okay, the third tip is one I found really interesting. Breathe and smile.
Sounds almost too simple, right? But it works.
How so?
Well, the breathing part is straightforward. Taking a deep breath just before you start speaking helps calm your nervous system down. Basic physiology.
Okay, the breath makes sense, but smiling.
Yeah, the smiling is cool. The source suggests it can actually sort of trick your brain.
Trick your brain into feeling safer, more relaxed. Smiling sends signals that things are okay. It can change your internal state before you even utter a word.
I remember reading that, and they mentioned, didn't they, that one of the creators actually tried it before talk.
Yeah, there was a little anecdote in there about feeling a real difference. It's small, but the psychological kick can be noticeable.
Wow. Connecting the physical and the mental.
Definitely. Okay, number 4. This one's super important if that fear of mistakes is your main block. Focus on message, not mistakes.
Ah, back to the perfection thing again.
Exactly. The goal isn't perfect grammar, it's getting your point across. What are you actually trying to say?
So focus on the communication.
Right. The source points out that the people listening, they're usually focused on understanding your main ideas, your energy, much more than they're sitting there counting your grammar errors.
That's probably true, actually.
If you prioritize just getting that core message out, it kind of frees you up from worrying about every little potential slip. You're connecting with their understanding, not obsessing over your performance.
Makes sense. Okay, what's tip number 5?
This gives you a tool for when your mind does go blank for a second. Use phrases to buy time.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Like what?
The source gives some great examples. Things like, that's a great question.
Oh,
Or, let me think for a moment. Or even starting with, well, what I believe is.
things people say all the time.
Exactly. The source calls them native tricks, and that's what they are. They're perfectly normal phrases.
So they don't make you sound hesitant.
Not at all. They give you a few seconds to gather your thoughts, find the right word, structure your answer. But you sound, thoughtful while you do it, not flustered.
That's really useful. Okay, and the last tip, number 6.
It's about putting it all into action consistently. Join speaking challenges.
So find ways to practice regularly.
Yep. Find group discussions, maybe online speaking groups, language exchange partners, whatever works for you.
Because the more you do it,
The more you speak, even if it's low stakes, the more familiar it gets.
Yeah.
And the less scary it feels. Practice chips away at the fear.
consistent exposure.
Got it. Now, there was something else interesting the source mentioned, drawing from a role play example they discussed.
Ah, yeah, the comparison.
We don't need the whole role play, but the lesson from it seemed really powerful.
It really was. The key takeaway wasn't about who used fancier words or had 0 grammar mistakes.
Right. The big difference they saw between the speaker who seemed nervous and the one who seemed confident, it was about more than the language itself.
Significantly more. It was about their tone of voice, their posture, their overall energy, their attitude.
So confidence isn't just about knowing the English words.
Not according to this source. It frames confidence much more as an energy and attitude you project. It's how you show up, not just what you say perfectly.
That's actually really empowering, isn't it?
Totally. Because it means you can start working on projecting that confident energy now, even while your English is still developing.
Speaking of cultivating that energy, the source had another practical tool for that, right? Something about daily affirmations. Yeah, power sentences. Sentences you can literally practice saying to yourself every day.
Especially before you know you'll need to speak English.
Exactly. To consciously kind of shift your mindset, reprogram your thinking. The source lists 5 specific ones.
Okay, let's hear them. What's the first one?
I am confident and calm when I speak.
Simple, direct. I like it. Number 2.
I believe in my message, not my grammar.
Reinforcing that key point again. Focus on the message.
Yep. Number 3, I have the right to speak and be heard.
Owning your space, claiming your voice. Good one.
Number 4 is about self-compassion. I am not perfect, but I am improving.
Acknowledging the learning process, giving yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm. And the 5th one, I speak English with clarity and courage.
Clarity and courage, that's a strong affirmation.
They are. And the idea is, if you actually incorporate these kinds of positive self-talk phrases into your routine, they can genuinely start to change how you feel internally about speaking.
Makes sense. Train your brain.
Right. And finally, the source kind of wraps all this up with a super simple, easy to remember formula for taking action.
Okay.
Just 3 steps. Remembered by 3 P's?
PPP.
PPP.
What do they stand for?
First P, prepare.
Yeah.
Get those bullet points, your structure, ready.
Oh, okay. Prepare.
Second P, practice. Say it out loud a few times. Build that fluency, that confidence.
Practice. Got it. And the third P?
Perform. Step up and actually do it. Deliver your message.
Prepare, practice, perform. PPP.
Simple as that.
And there was a motivational bit attached to that too, wasn't there? Something about the first, second, and third time.
Yeah. The message was basically, look, the first time you really face the fear and do this, it might still feel pretty scary. That's okay.
But the second time
Will be easier. You've done it once. And by the third time, you'll start to own it. You'll feel much more in control.
I love that progression. It emphasizes persistence.
It really drives home that consistency, repetition, and actually using these steps. That's the path. Not just to manage the fear, but to genuinely build real confidence.
So, if we bring all these insights from the source material together, what's the big picture from this deep dive?
I think it really emphasizes that this fear of speaking English in public,
Yeah.
it's common. It feels huge.
But it's not unbeatable.
Exactly. You absolutely have the power to work on it and overcome it.
It seems to be about those small, consistent actions.
Definitely. Start where you are, speak often, even if it's just a little bit. Let yourself make mistakes.
And celebrate the wins, right?
Yes. Celebrate every sentence you manage to say. Acknowledge your progress.
It really connects back to your own journey, doesn't it? It's not just about getting information, like listening to us now.
Well, it's about taking these ideas, these strategies, and actually applying them, using them to change that experience from something dreadful to something, well, manageable, even good.
Turning stress into capability.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's something to think about as we wrap up.
A final thought.
Yeah. Given that the source really highlighted confidence as being about energy and attitude, not just language skill, how might consciously deciding to shift your internal energy or adopt a more confident attitude, how might that alone change your experience the very next time you get a chance to speak English in front of others?
Interesting question to ponder. How much is mindset?